keep walking and walking and walking. We're going down an incline deep into the funeral home. And I'm like, something ain't adding up. Like, hi, my name is Bree and welcome back to my channel. So I was scrolling on TikTok, as many of us do on a daily basis. But basically I saw where it said, what was the time that you had a trauma, but it was actually kind of funny. And as soon as I saw the prompt, like it was just, you could stitch the video or whatever. So as soon as I saw it, this story immediately like popped into my head. Like I even texted my cousin. I was like, oh, like somebody got to know this story other than just family. So my mother passed away in August of 2021. And at that time, it was like, I'm going to try and give as many details as possible. But like, obviously I was going through a rough time and like stuff was a blur. But this moment, I truly like remember everything, right? But up until this, it was kind of shaky. But this like shocked me back into reality of like everything that was happening at the time. But anyway, so my mother passed away August 2021, and her last and final wishes, like she always joked about this when I was growing up. She was like, do whatever you do, because my mother was claustrophobic. She did not like to be in small spaces. She didn't get a burial plot or anything like that. Like every single member of my family has been buried in a family lot. She didn't buy one. So she said what she wanted for her final wishes, if she ever passed, was to be cremated, and she wanted to be put into necklaces and give them to all her immediate family members. And we always joke, like, Mom, I'm not finna wear you around my neck. Like, that's just not what I'm doing. But like, I never took into account that like she consistently has told me this over and over and over again, that that's what she wanted. But of course, me being me, I'm like, girl, you ain't going nowhere. Why are you telling me this? Like, when you have these discussions with your parents as they're getting older, they get sick and whatnot, you just, oh, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to think about that. Well, I'll figure it out when I get to it. But it was kind of pertinent that she told me that, because she knew more. She knew she was sicker than I knew she was sick. Like, I knew my mother was sick at the time. I'm like, she had her health issues, but only she knew exactly what she was going through because she withheld things. But anyway, so she joked around. Well, I thought she was joking at the time that she wanted to be cremated and be put into necklaces. And she said, Brittany, I don't care what you do, don't put my fat ass in no box. Like, she looked me straight dead in my face. She said, don't put my fat ass in no box. And I said, okay, noted, like, whatever. I just put it into the back of my head. So when the day comes that my mother passed away, I'm an only child, her only child. I have a stepsister, but I was the one making the final decisions, right? So I had to go back and forth with, do I want to bury my mother? Do I want to get her cremated like she wanted me to? And I decided to do what she wanted. She wanted to be cremated, and she wanted to be put her ashes into necklaces. Because one thing about me, my mother always stood on business. Like, whatever my mom said she was going to do or wanted to do, she was the type of woman that she always made it happen. You know what I'm saying? So I know if I decided to put my mama in a box, she was going to haunt me for the rest of eternity. I did not want to do it. I did not want to deal with that. I know she would probably wake me up like, I told you not to put my fat ass in no box and you didn't listen. But whatever. So I decided I'm not going to do a burial. We did a cremation. So we had a celebration of life, and we had family members come. Like, we had people speak and come and talk about her, and songs were sung, and poetry, and, well, not poetry, but like scripture and stuff like that. So yeah, that was a beautiful day. So when it came down to, and her urn, because I bought an urn for her to be placed in at the celebration of life, and it had like big pictures of her and flowers everywhere and whatnot. So the urn was there. I didn't think, like, I think it was just like a symbol piece. Like, she wasn't actually in there at that point. But I don't know. I don't know what was what, like, if she was actually in the urn at that time or not. But I knew I couldn't take her with me, like, once the celebration was over. Like, we had a family funeral home that we deal with. So, like, this is my cousin that's the director or whatever. So he was like, you know, once everything gets settled, I'll have you come and pick up her death certificate and her ashes or whatever. Because I wanted to get the urn sealed and whatnot. So the day comes, I get a call from my cousin. And he said, you know, I'm down here at the funeral home. Just come and ask for me when you get here, and I'll go ahead and give you the urn with the ashes and her death certificate paperwork. Now, the only thing that's blurry about this is I don't remember if I got the death certificate and the ashes on the same day, but I knew I had to go down there several times, like, to deal with the business of, you know, paying for stuff, money, picking out flowers, signing paperwork, doing the whole nine, right? But this is this is what I remember when I went down there, because he told me to come down there, right? So I show up to the funeral home, and the receptionist there, she was like, you know, like a sweet little lady, you know, like she was older than me. I told her my name, and I said, I'm looking for my cousin's name because he's a director. He called me. He told me to come down here, right? And she said, oh, okay, I got you. Let me go check and see if he's in his office. I said, okay. So she went in the back, right, for a couple of minutes, and I'm just sitting here scrolling on my phone waiting for her to come back. So when she finally does come back, she asked me, she was like, what were you here for again? I was like, I'm here to see such and such. Now, granted, this could have been my fault because I was not clear in what I was there for. I should have told her I am there to pick up paperwork and like I think it was either signing for paperwork or picking up paperwork, but I know it had something to do with paperwork and to pick up my mother, right? So she said, I didn't tell her any of this. I just told her I'm here to speak to this person. She said, okay, give me a minute. So she steps back out again. So when she comes back out, she says, come with me. So I'm thinking she's taking me to my cousin's office, right? And I have been in this funeral home several times, but we've been in the chapel, you know what I'm saying? Or like the front, because it's like a big house or whatever. Like it's an old, like big house downtown or whatever. So I've never really walked through it, and I've never been to his office ever. So like if you had to do business, he would just take you to one of the front rooms, but he didn't necessarily put you in his office, right? So I'm thinking we're walking to his office. So she starts walking me through the funeral home, and we're walking and walking and walking and walking. And I realized we're getting further and further from the front door. And I was like, okay, maybe his office is in the back, you know, like maybe he wants to be tucked away, quiet, whatever. So we keep walking and walking and walking. We're going down an incline deep into the funeral home. And I'm like, something ain't adding up. Like, why would your office be this deep into the funeral home? Like, it's like we're going down to the basement of the funeral home, which I thought was kind of weird. But she works here. I don't know. I don't work here. Like, she knows what she's doing. I'm just following. So we get down there to a room, And she opens up the door, and I'm like, I didn't step inside into the room, but she opens up the door, and I'm just seeing like bright lights. Everything looks very like whitewashed and sterile, I guess. And she introduces me to this man who I've never met before. She said, "Oh, this is such and such or whatever." And she was referring, and she was telling him my name, like she was introducing us to each other. And hold on, my husband's calling. Back to the room, right? So I get to the room, I meet the guy, and he's introducing himself. The lady introduces me, and I'm standing around, and he's in the doorway, right? We're all standing in the doorway. Me and the lady are standing outside the door. He's inside. He's wearing gloves, whatever. So I'm trying to peep out the situation. I was like, oh, this is kind of weird because I didn't come to see him. I came to see my cousin. So I'm peeking around the room, and there's bodies on tables, like gurneys in here. And like some, like one or two had sheets over them. One was just a lady in her coffin, like her casket, like fresh, like she was about to go out and they were having a service. And I'm just sitting there like, why am I down here? What did this have to do with me? So the reason why I was taken to this room, this lady, for whatever reason, thought I was a hairdresser, right? And I was coming to do somebody's hair in the embalming room, right? So I'm like, ma'am, I was here to see insert name. Cause I'm supposed to be picking up my mama. She was cremated. She said, oh, okay. And I'm just sitting here looking at her like, what made you think I was a hairdresser? I never introduced you. Like, when I introduced myself, I didn't tell you I was a hairdresser. I didn't have any equipment with me. I didn't have a bag. I had my keys and my phone. So what was I coming there to do with no equipment if you thought I was a hairdresser? I didn't say, oh, I'm here to do such and such hair. Lead me to the embalming room with a whole bunch of bodies, and I know my mom just passed away a week ago. Like, I don't get where she got the idea from that I was a hairdresser. Maybe I'm guessing one was on the way and she was expecting them and she thought that was me, but it wasn't adding up for you to think that I was the hairdresser, right? So I said, ma'am, I'm here to pick up my mother. She was cremated. She said, oh, okay. So she leads me all the way back up to the front where we were in the first place, right? So she gives me a paper to sign, and she gives me a tote bag with my mother in it. And she said, just let us know if you need anything else. And I'm just sitting here like, what the heck did I just see? Like, so the trauma of the situation is where, like, I've just lost my mother a week prior. I'm coming down there, and I already knew I was going to be emotional picking up her remains. So I was already in that mindset, like, I'm going to have to hold it together until I get in the car. Like, we got to just thug it out, right? So I get outside and I'm sitting in the car, and I just like, I'm trying to process what the heck just happened, right? So I call my auntie, because like my auntie was helping me with like arrangements and stuff, because I've never had to do anything like this in my life. Like, I don't know what was up. So I'm sitting here on the phone telling my aunt what just happened, and she is laughing so hard. Like, she's like, I didn't think it was funny at the time. I'm sitting here like, I just was led to an embalming room with bodies, and I'm literally just trying to pick up my mother. I'm just trying to do business. And this lady done exposed me to the whole practices of the funeral home. And she's just cackling. I was like, it's not funny. Like, why would they take me to that room? But anyway, and I'm sitting here like, I'm just trying to pick up my mother. And I pick up the bag with my mother's ashes. And I'm like, so the reason why I said this was like, I spent too much time on Google. Like, I researched too much. So I'm telling my auntie, I'm like, they don't know what they're doing. She let me down there that late. The receptionist doesn't need to be working there. Because I don't even know if this is my mama because it's too light. She thought that was so funny. Because I'm like, one, when I Googled the cremation process, they're like, well, depending on the person's mass, right, you may get less ashes or you may get more ashes, right? So being that my mother was a bigger woman, I'm not expecting this urn to be this light, right? Because I think I purchased like a 20, it's supposed to hold like 25 or 35 pounds of ashes. And that was the largest one that I could find at the moment, like in a rush. So I'm like picking it up. I was like, yo, this is mad light. And I know my mama would probably weigh way more than this. And she just thought it was funny. And I'm like, no, for real. I don't feel like this is my mother. Because one, I came down here. She wasn't told what I was coming down there for. She had no clue I was coming there to see my cousin, what we needed to do. Like, it was just a lack of communication on all fronts. Mine as well, because I should have been clear in what I was there for. But I was like sitting there back in my head. I was like, if it wasn't communicated enough that I was coming down there to pick up my mother, wow, there might have been some mix up, and this is just not my mama, and I'm gonna put her in a necklace and wear her, and it's not even my mom. So everybody thought that was funny because I thought it was too light. And even if it was my mom, I feel like that wasn't enough. Like, give me everything. I just don't want parts of her out there that I don't have access to and like other people have access to. But whatever. So yeah, that was very traumatic at the time. Like, I ended up crying. But later on that day, I was just like, you know what? This would happen to me. Because my relationship with, everyone says I have dark humor, right? Like, my cousin always says your perception of death and how you deal with death, I always turn it into humor because I want to, when I'm a very emotional person, so if I could spin it to where I'm not sad anymore, or not make light of the situation, but kind of diffuse it enough to where I'm not crying and see the optimism in the situation, that's just what I'm gonna do. So this would happen to me because it turned out to be like a funny story when you're thinking about it. Like, I'm coming down there to pick up my ashes and I just get brought to a whole room of embalmed bodies. But yeah, anyway, that was the story. It was traumatizing at the time, but I can look at it now and see that it was funny. But anyway, that was the story time. My name is Bree. Follow me on social media. If you like this video and want to see more, please like and subscribe. And thank you guys for watching. Bye.